Hi everyone, welcome back to KG Graves. We're in Fairview Cemetery in Penargyl, Pennsylvania, USA, and we're here to visit the grave of the very famous actress Jayne Mansfield. I hope you enjoy the video.
Oh gee, Alice, it's not fair to Anna or me or you. Not fair at all.
And why ain't it fair to me, if you please?
Well, all the time I'd be kissing you, you'd know that I loved my wife and that I was really thinking about her.
Look, honey, I'll explain you something. It ain't like that to me. I don't care who you're really thinking about when you kiss me. Like I told you, I never do it for any reason. If I don't want to. But if I want to, I do it. And I want to. You know, a couple of months ago, I got a letter from a friend. Not what you'd call a close friend anymore, but he writes to me and I answer him. He was at the last landing with MacArthur and everybody. Well, in this letter, he said that they was getting pushed around and bombed. And all of a sudden, our airplanes were there. So he said, Alice, every feller you see, Army or Navy, you kiss them for me.
Jayne Mansfield was born Vera Jane Palmer on the 19th of April 1933 in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, USA, to parents Herbert and Vera née Palmer. She was an American actress. The family lived in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, where her father was an attorney. In 1936, her father died of a heart attack while driving. 3-year-old Jayne was in the car. In 1939, her widowed mother remarried and the family moved to Dallas, Texas. As a young girl, Jayne was known as Vera Jane Pierce. She wanted to be a Hollywood star like Shirley Temple. At age 12, she took ballroom dance lessons. She graduated from Highland Park High School in 1950, where she also had lessons on the violin, piano and viola. She also studied Spanish and German. At age 17, she married Paul Mansfield on the 6th of May 1950. A daughter, Jane Marie Mansfield, was born on the 8th of November. Jayne and her husband enrolled in the Southern Methodist University to study acting. In 1951, Jayne moved to Los Angeles and attended summer semester at UCLA. She entered the Miss California contest, hiding her marital status, and won the local round, but Paul forced her to withdraw. Next, they moved to Austin, Texas, where she studied dramatics at the University of Texas at Austin. There, Jayne worked as a nude art model, sold books door to door, and worked as a receptionist at a dance studio. She won several beauty contests, including Miss Photo Flash and Miss Magnesium Lamp. In 1953, she moved back to Dallas and studied acting for several months, taking private lessons. She made her first significant stage appearance in a production of Death of a Salesman on the 22nd of October with the Players of the Knox Street Theatre. In 1954, the family moved back to Los Angeles, where Jayne had her first screen test at Paramount in April, but failed to impress. She worked various odd jobs, including selling popcorn at the Stanley Warner Theatre, teaching dance, selling candy at a movie theatre, and modelling part-time at the Blue Book Model Agency. Jayne landed her first acting assignment in the CBS series Lux Video Theatre in the episode An Angel Went AWOL, which aired on the 21st of October 1954. In it, she sat at a piano and delivered a few lines of dialogue and was paid $300. In December 1953, Hugh Hefner began publishing Playboy. The magazine became a success, in part because of early appearances by Jayne and other famous women. In February 1955, she was the Playboy Playmate of the Month and appeared in the magazine several times. She also posed for the Playboy calendar, covering her bare breasts with her hands. Playboy featured Jayne each February from 1955 to 1958 and again in 1960. Playboy later reprinted photos from that pictorial issue with titles such as December 1965's The Playboy Portfolio of Sex Stars and January 2000's Centerfolds of the Century. Jayne filed for separation from Paul Mansfield in January 1955. Her first film part was a supporting role in Female Jungle, a low-budget drama completed in 10 days. She was paid $150. It was released unofficially in early 1955. In February, James Byron, her manager and publicist, negotiated a 7-year contract with Warner Brothers. The contract initially paid her $250 a week and landed her 2 films. She was given bit parts in Pete Kelly's Blues and Hell on Frisco Bay. She acted in one more movie for Warner Brothers, another small but significant role in the courtroom drama Illegal. In August 1956, after the Mansfield had divorced, Paul Mansfield sought custody of his daughter, alleging that Jayne was an unfit mother because she appeared nude in Playboy. However, his attempt failed. Jayne got out of her Warner contract just in time to start on Broadway in the play Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, which she continued to perform until the 15th of September. On the 3rd of May 1956, 20th Century Fox signed Jayne to a 6-year contract to mould her as a successor to the increasingly difficult Marilyn Monroe. She undertook her first starring film role in The Girl Can't Help It, released in December 1956, with a cast of contemporary rock and roll stars, which became one of the year's biggest successes. In 1957, Jayne appeared in the films The Burglar and The Wayward Bus. She was also successful in these straight dramatic roles, though most of her subsequent film appearances were comedic or capitalized on her sex appeal. With the film The Girl Can't Help It, she attempted to move away from her blonde bombshell image and establish herself as a serious actress. The film enjoyed moderate box office success and she won a Golden Globe for New Star of the Year. Jayne's 4th starring role in a Hollywood film was in Kiss Them For Me, also 1957, for which she received prominent billing alongside Cary Grant. The film was a critical and box office flop, and one of the last attempts for 20th Century Fox to promote Jayne. In 1958, at age 25, Jayne inherited over $90,000 from her maternal grandfather, Thomas H. Palmer, and over $36,000 from her maternal grandmother, Beatrice Mary Palmer. Fox gave her a leading role opposite Kenneth More in The Sheriff of Fractured Jaw, 1958. In the film, Jayne's 3 songs were dubbed by singer Connie Francis. Fox released the film in the United States in 1959, and it was her last mainstream film success. Columbia Pictures offered her a part in the romantic comedy Bell, Book and Candle, but she turned it down because she was pregnant. Jayne remarried in 1958 to Mickey Hargitay. They had 3 children, Mickey Jr., born in 1958, Zoltan, 1960, and Mariska, 1964. With a decreased demand for big-breasted blonde bombshells and an increase in backlash against her excessive publicity, Jayne became a box office has-been by the early 1960s. She was still a celebrity, able to attract attention and large crowds for her lucrative and successful nightclub acts, including appearances in Las Vegas. She earned $200,000 for 10 weeks of work. In 1959, Fox cast her in 2 independent gangster films shot in the United Kingdom, Too Hot to Handle and The Challenge, released in 1960, 1961 and 1963 in the US respectively. When Jayne returned to Hollywood in mid-1960, 20th Century Fox cast her in It Happened in Athens, 1962. It was a box office failure, and 20th Century Fox dropped Jayne's contract. After appearing in more low-budget films, Tommy Noonan persuaded Jayne to become the first mainstream American actress to appear nude in a starring role in the film Promises, Promises, 1963. Playboy published nude photographs of her on set in its June issue, resulting in obscenity charges being filed against Hugh Hefner in a Chicago court. The film was banned in Cleveland, Ohio, but enjoyed box office success elsewhere. As a result of its success, Jayne landed on the top 10 list of box office attractions for that year. Also in 1963, Jayne appeared in a pin-up book, Jayne Mansfield for President, The White House or Bust. In 1964, Jayne married Matt Simber, who was the director in her next film, Single Room Furnished. It did not have a full release until 1968, almost a year after her death. In early 1967, Jayne filmed her last role in A Guide for Married Men. The opening credits listed her as one of the technical advisors. In television, Jayne made her first appearance in The Bachelor on NBC in 1956. In dramas, she was in Burke's Law, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and The Red Skelton Hour. She also appeared in game shows, What's My Line, The Match Game, and Down You Go, as well as variety shows, The Jack Benny Program, The Steve Allen Show, and The Jackie Gleason Show, to name a few. In some of the shows, she would play the violin. By 1958, Jayne earned $20,000 per episode for television programs. Jayne also appeared on stage in many shows, including The Slaves of Demon Rum, 10 Nights in a Barroom, Macbeth, Anything Goes, and Bus Stop. In February 1958, the Tropicana Las Vegas launched Jayne's striptease revue, The Tropicana Holiday. She received $25,000 per week for her performance as Trixie Devoon in the show, while her contract with 20th Century Fox were also paying her $2,500 per week. In December 1960, the Dunes Hotel and Casino launched Jayne's revue, The House of Love. She received a salary of $35,000 a week, the highest of her career. She went on to perform her shows in other states in the US, including North Carolina, Kentucky, and New York, earning similar amounts of money. Later in her career, Jayne was busier on stage, performing and making appearances with nightclub acts, club engagements, and performance tours. By 1960, she had made personal appearances for everything from supermarket promotions to drugstore openings at $10,000 per appearance. In 1962, 20th Century Fox Records released the album Jayne Mansfield Busts Up Las Vegas, a recording of her Las Vegas revue, The House of Love. In 1964, MGM Records released the novelty album Jayne Mansfield, Shakespeare, Tchaikovsky and Me, in which she recited Shakespeare's sonnets and poems by famous poets. In 1965, Jimi Hendrix played bass and added lead in his session musician days for Jayne on 2 songs, As the Clouds Drift By and Suey, released as a 45 RPM single by London Records in 1966. The record producer claimed that she played all the instruments on the tracks. In 1980, the Jayne Mansfield story aired on CBS, starring Lonnie Anderson as Jayne and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mickey Hargitay. It was nominated for 3 Emmy Awards. In 1988, her story and archival footage were part of the TV documentary Hollywood sex symbols. In her personal life, Jayne was allegedly intimately involved with many men, including Claude Terrell, owner of the Paris restaurant, Robert F. Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, Brazilian billionaire George A. Guinley, producer Enrico Bomba, and her attorney Samuel S. Brody. Marriage-wise, Jayne met Paul Mansfield at a party on Christmas Eve in 1949. On the 6th of May 1950, they married in Fort Worth, Texas. At the time of their marriage, Jayne was 17 and 3 months pregnant, and Paul was 20. According to biographer Raymond Strait, she had an earlier secret marriage on the 28th of January, after which she conceived her first child. On the 8th of November, she gave birth to her daughter, Jayne Marie Mansfield. Some sources say Paul Mansfield was her child's father. Others say the pregnancy was the result of a date rape. After a series of arguments about Jayne's ambitions, infidelity, and animals, Paul and Jayne decided to dissolve the marriage. It was a long process. In February 1955, Jayne filed for separate maintenance, and in August 1956, Paul filed for custody of their daughter. Jayne filed for divorce in California in 1956. Paul filed for divorce in 1957 in Texas, citing mental cruelty, and they received their divorce papers on the 8th of January 1958. After the divorce, she kept Mansfield as her professional name. Paul failed to win the custody case. After turning 18, Jayne Marie complained that she had not received her inheritance from the Mansfield estate or heard from her father since her mother's death. Jayne met her second husband, Mickey Hargitay, at the Latin Quarter nightclub in New York City on the 13th of May 1956, where he was performing as a member of the chorus line in Mae West's show. Mickey was an actor and bodybuilder who won Mr. Universe competition in 1955. Jayne fell for him immediately, which resulted in a squabble with Mae West. In the ensuing row, Mr. California, Chuck Krauser, also known as Paul Kovac, beat Mickey up and was arrested and released on a $300 bond. Mickey proposed to her on the 6th of November 1957 with a $5,000 10-carat diamond ring. On the 13th of January 1958, day after her divorce from Paul Mansfield was finalized, they married at the Wayfarers Chapel in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. The unique glass chapel made public and press viewing of the wedding easy. Jayne wore a pink, skin-tight wedding gown. The couple performed in many films and stage shows together. They had 2 sons, Miklos Mickey Jeffrey Palmer Hargitay Jr., born on the 21st of December 1958, and Zoltan Antony, born on the 1st of August 1960. They had a number of business holdings, including the Hargitay Exercise Equipment Company, Jayne Mansfield Productions, and Eastland Savings and Loan. She co-wrote the autobiographical book Jayne Mansfield's Wild Wild World with Hargitay. In 1962, Jayne had a well-publicized affair with Enrico Bomba, the Italian producer and production manager of her film Panic Button 1964. Mickey accused Enrico of sabotaging their marriage. In 1963, she had another well-publicized relationship with a Brazilian-born comedian-singer Nelson Sardelli, whom she had planned to marry when her divorce from Mickey was finalized. The couple divorced in Juarez, Mexico in May 1963. She had previously filed for divorce on the 4th of May 1962, but told reporters, "I'm sure we will make it up." During the acrimonious divorce proceedings, she attempted to force a more favourable financial settlement by accusing Mickey of kidnapping one of her children. After divorcing Mickey, Jayne discovered she was pregnant. Being an unwed mother would have endangered her career, so she and Mickey announced that they were still married. A daughter, Mariska Hargitay, was born on the 23rd of January 1964, after the divorce was finalised, but before California ruled it valid. Mariska later revealed that Nelson Sardella is her biological father. Jayne sued to get the Juarez divorce declared later after Mariska was born, and the divorce was recognised on the 26th of August 1964. A court decree in June 1967 made Mickey the guardian of Mickey Jr., Zoltan and Mariska, though they continued to live with Jayne. Mickey married an airline stewardess in 1968, and she accompanied him to New Orleans when he picked up his children after Jayne's death. Shortly after her funeral, he sued his ex-wife's estate for more than $275,000 to support the children, as he would raise them, but he lost the suit. Next, Jayne became involved with Matt Cimber, an Italian-born film director. She married him on the 24th of September 1964 in Mexico. They separated on the 11th of July 1965 and filed for divorce on the 20th of July 1966 on the grounds of Matt's physical abuse, Jayne's alcohol abuse and infidelities. The couple had a son, Antonio Rafael Ottaviano, also known as Tony Cimber, born on the 18th of October 1965. At the time, Jayne had degenerated into alcoholism, drunken brawls, and performing at cheap burlesque shows. In July 1966, she started living with her attorney, Sam Brody, who had frequent drunken brawls with her and mistreated her daughter, Jayne Marie. In the 2025 documentary, My Mom Jayne, Jayne Marie and her son Zoltan Hargitay recalled instances where Jayne showed signs of physical abuse from Sam Brody. Zoltan made news when a lion attacked him and bit his neck while he and his mother visited the theme park Jungle Land, USA, in Thousand Oaks, California on the 23rd of November 1966. He suffered severe head trauma, underwent 3 surgeries at Community Memorial Hospital in Ventura, California, including a 6-hour brain surgery, and contracted meningitis. He recovered, and Sam Brody sued the theme park on the family's behalf for $1.6 million. The publicity led to the theme park's closure. Newspapers in the 1950s routinely published Jayne's body measurements, which led evangelist Billy Graham to exclaim, "This country knows more about Jayne Mansfield's statistics than the Second Commandment." She proclaimed a 41-inch bustline and a 22-inch waist when she made her Broadway debut in 1955, though some scholars dispute those figures. She was known as the Cleavage Queen and the Queen of Sex and Bosom. It was said that her breasts fluctuated in size from her pregnancies and nursing her 5 children. It has been claimed that her bosom was a major force behind the development of 1950s bras, including the Whirlpool bra, Cuties, the Shutter bra, and the Action bra, among others. Jayne's drive for publicity was one of the strongest in Hollywood. She gave up all privacy, her doors always open to photographers. She appeared in about 2,500 newspaper photographs and had about 122,000 lines of newspaper copy written about her between September 1956 and May 1957. Because of this media blitz, she achieved international renown. On October the 10th, 1959, she visited White Hart Lane, England, and watched the Tottenham Hotspur versus Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club football match. By 1960, she had top press polls for most words in print, made more personal appearances than political candidates, and was regarded as the world's most photographed Hollywood celebrity. Jayne could draw attention to herself by accidentally exposing her breasts in public, supposedly by accident to pull stunts to get media to photograph her. In April 1967, the Los Angeles Times wrote, "She confuses publicity and notoriety with stardom and celebrity, and the result is very distasteful to the public." Jayne adopted pink as her colour in 1954 and was associated with it for the rest of her career. In November 1957, she bought the 40-room Mediterranean-style mansion formerly owned by Rudy Vallee at 10100 Sunset Boulevard in the Holmby Hills section of Los Angeles. Jayne had the house painted pink with cupids surrounded by pink, fluorescent lights, pink fur in the bathrooms, a pink heart-shaped bathtub, and a fountain spurting pink champagne. She then dubbed it the Pink Palace. Mickey Hargitay built the pink heart-shaped swimming pool. The year after reconstructing the Pink Palace as a pink landmark, she began riding in a pink Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz convertible, then the only pink Cadillac in Hollywood. On the 28th of June 1967, Jayne was in Biloxi, Mississippi for an engagement at the Gus Stevens Supper Club. After midnight, Jayne, her attorney and partner Sam Brody, Ronald B. Harrison, a 19-year-old driver for the club, who was driving, 3 of her children left Biloxi for New Orleans. At about 2:25 a.m. on the 29th of June on US Highway 90, 1 mile west of the Riglets Bridge, their car crashed while travelling between 60 and 80 miles per hour into the rear of a tractor-trailer that slowed down due to an approaching mosquito insecticide fog-spraying truck that was flashing a red light. The 3 adults in the front seat died instantly. The children, asleep in the rear seat, survived with minor injuries. They were rushed to the Oshner Foundation Hospital, where Mickey Hargitay arrived that same day after learning what had happened. Jayne's death certificate gives her immediate cause of death as crushed skull with avulsion of cranium and brain. After her death, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recommended requiring an underrider guard, a strong bar made of steel tubing, on all tractor trailers. In America, the underride guard is sometimes known as a Mansfield bar. Her body was flown from New Orleans to New York, and a private funeral took place on the 3rd of July at the Chapel of the Poulis Funeral Home in Penargyl, Pennsylvania. During her career, Jayne won many awards, and on the 8th of February 1960, she was given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6328 Hollywood Boulevard. Her daughter Mariska's star was placed next to hers more than 50 years later in 2013. The Pink Palace was sold. Its subsequent owners included Ringo Starr and Engelbert Humperdinck. In 2002, Humperdinck sold it to developers and the house was demolished in November of that year. Let's see where her grave is located. So there you have it, the very famous grave of Jayne Mansfield, the actress. As usual, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, see you on the next one. Rest in peace, Jayne Mansfield.